What's going on, guys? I'm back with my second to last Rocky episode, and today we're going to talk about the sequel to the rebirth of the franchise, Creed 2. Creed 2, at its core, shares similarities with Rocky 2, Rocky 3, and especially Rocky 4. However, it also stands on its own distinct entity. When it comes to a boxing film alone, especially the 8th installment in a franchise, what more can you do but tighten up loose ends or rewrite the plots for the better? That's exactly what Creed 2 achieves. Well, I guess you could argue that the Drago premise may feel a bit overused. It makes perfect sense for a Creed installment. As mentioned earlier, it beautifully ties in, fleshes out, and tightens up loose ends from Rocky 4, which many consider to be their favorite. Although this premise could put a lot of asses in seats, they had some very big shoes to fill, and they delivered in aces. Creed 2 is still undoubtedly about the characters flourishing above all. The film seamlessly weaves in the story and the boxing elements, infusing it with dramatic and emotional weight. Although the creative team dusts off some old tools, Steve Caple Jr. found a way to hit a great amount of emotional notes throughout the film, coupled with a great deal of heart. While Creed 2 may not match the brilliance of the first installment, it takes risks that feel grounded and important to the main trio and their antagonists, prospering with heart and creativity. Adonis Creed battles with so much in this film. He has to battle with the family that essentially killed his father, while enduring pain, suffering, recovery, and ultimately defeat. He also has to navigate the trials of raising a disabled daughter, while also going through the trials and tribulations with not only his new wife Bianca, but with Rocky as well. The plot is intricate, but each element complements each other effectively. As I reluctantly shared before, most of these Rocky films have made me shed tears, but none of them even come close to the comparison to this one, especially the ending. Most importantly, the ending. Rocky films, as they always do, they take all these problems that have been brewing up since the beginning, they have them meet at the end in the boxing scene, and in Creed 2, it was absolutely nailed to perfection. How they completely turned the tables from Rocky 4 was outstanding and delivered a tremendous message. As I always proudly proclaim, I am the biggest Rocky fan on the planet. These films were not only a significant part of my life, but also helped me get through tough times. When I was feeling down or lost, I could watch these films and forget all about the pain. So, the way this film concludes was not only perfect, but also truly and utterly beautiful. I was not prepared for it. When it comes to the characters, they do an incredible job of developing our main trio, particularly Michael B. Jordan and Tessa Thompson's characters. However, their contributions don't end there. They also give our antagonists some great depth, adding a new layer to the Rocky franchise reminiscent of Rocky 4. Each character has their own arc. Jordan battles with his inner demons, Thompson struggles as a new mother while trying to support her family, and Rocky grapples with feelings of letting Adonis down, as well as his family moving away. Additionally, the Russians' journey since their defeat in Rocky 4 is explored, adding a layer of complexity to the story. Each arc had a great deal of time to be fleshed out and understood, especially Adonis' arc, which is particularly well developed, making him our true lead character, as he always is. The chemistry between our trio is outstanding and has only improved, especially between Jordan and Thompson. Their bond is deepened and strengthened, transcending mere banter to encompass the creation of a family, mutual support, and unwavering companionship. Watching these two characters interact is never dull, as if they were destined to play these roles for a lifetime. Michael B. Jordan faces immense challenges in his professional and his personal life, while Tessa Thompson arguably faces even greater obstacles. She now has to deal with her child being deaf, a responsibility that requires her and Donnie's combined efforts to give their child a brilliant life. On top of this, her career continues to soar. Despite these complexities, their bond has only become more impactful and real. With Sylvester Stallone's character, it's not that he gets sidelined here, because he still has significant contributions to make. However, there is a sense that he is gradually stepping aside, allowing Jordan to take the reins and transition the franchise into his hands. His character faces numerous challenges, including his strained family life with Robert and his relationship with Donnie. These personal struggles are seamlessly integrated into the main plot and themes of the film. While Rocky, Donnie, and Bianca are the main draws of the Creed franchise and this particular installment, the film's success is also greatly enhanced by the contributions of Dolph Lundgren and Florian Moutinho, one of those two. Although Moutinho may not be a conventional actor, granted he was in this, he was in Guardians 3, and maybe like 2 other films, he still delivers a solid performance as a formidable antagonist. In interviews, he seems like a pretty sound guy, but in this film, he embodies the epitome of a bad man. He adopts a similar character archetype to Drago Sr., a silent assassin. While his role primarily revolves around him training in boxing, he manages to make a significant impact, showcasing his strength and intimidating presence. Although he may not be a direct carbon copy to Drago Sr.'s style, he possesses the same level of threat and power, making him an extremely dangerous adversary. While his boxing resume may seem a bit limited, we don't really learn a whole lot about him, the eye test shows that he is a big league boxer, adding to his overall threat. When it comes to the boxing fights, They might not be as aesthetically pleasing as the one-take shots in the first film, but they certainly have their own unique personality from the camera work and the color grading. For instance, when Creed is shown in his world, the color scheme is one way, mainly being pretty colorful. On the other hand, when they show the Dragos, the color scheme is just straight blue-green tone. However, when they meet, the color scheme almost meets in the middle, creating a delightful picture. The camera angles that were used also add a lot of personality to the film. Cable definitely borrows some tactics from Coogler, but he has his own sense of direction with the POV shots, making it feel as if you were right there in the ring. The choreography is also pretty underrated for my money, making the fight feel very brutal. It's as if these two guys are essentially clubbing at each other the whole time. They were just beating the piss out of each other, it seemed. The fight feels much more tension-filled because of the backstory of Rocky IV, which makes the sequel all the more enjoyable and engrossing. I also found it interesting how, despite Drago winning most of the match, he was diminishing in confidence with each round, while Creed was only building. This is a great nod to the Rocky theme, and it also includes portions of how cheeky the Russians can be with their tactics and their strategies. When it comes to my drawbacks, I do have a few, but seemingly a lot less than the critical responses. My first issue is with the plot, which is quite predictable. After about a half an hour, if you've seen any Rocky film or any boxing film at that matter, you can easily anticipate how the first act will end and how the next two acts will unfold. While this doesn't mean that the film does nothing new or doesn't make a statement into the franchise, it was just easy to see where the film was going to go. My second issue is related to the sense of safety that the film exudes. Don't get me wrong, the film does take stakes and risks, but the predictable story flow makes it easy to guess how things will pan out. Before I delve into my next issue, I did notice one plot hole that stood out. In the first Creed film, Creed is a light heavyweight, which is naturally around 175. In this film, without any explanation, he suddenly jumps up 2 weight classes, gaining over 25 pounds. While this doesn't significantly impact the plot, it's a bit jarring and feels forced for the sake of Drago Jr.'s size. My next issue stems from the post-production antics, particularly the numerous cuts made to the film. The pacing was generally pretty good, but it's evident that some scenes were either trimmed out or trimmed down to reduce the runtime, ironically like in Rocky IV, leaving the film feeling somewhat incomplete at times. If they would have included another 25 minutes, the film would have been roughly 2.5 hours long, which is quite long for a boxing film, but it would have greatly enhanced the story and the characters. I would be willing to sit there a bit longer to get even more engrossed into the narrative and the characters. Furthermore, there were significant rewrites by Stallone himself, as well as the revisions to the Drago premise. I don't believe that there were any significant flaws in the film, but there are some noticeable tone shifts in awkward sections. Additionally, the script feels somewhat predictable at times, relying on familiar elements to the film's history. The only other issue I encountered, which also had in the first film, was the dramatic knockdown Creed faces in the final fight. That was simply cut out a piece of Swiss cheese, and you cannot tell me any different. While the intention was commendable, the execution was clumsy and felt poorly handled. Nobody gets up from boxing and starts punching the ground. That was just so foolish for me. Overall, Creed 2 is still a very good film. Is it better than the first? Probably not, but I'd personally argue from a film critic's perspective that this film could be in the top 5 in the entire Rocky franchise. Creed 2 gets a 7 out of 10 from me. Let me know what you think about Creed 2 in the comments below, and stay tuned for my last episode, Creed 3 in the Rocky franchise. See you guys in the next one.